Yes, irrigation water, correct. Irrigation is one demand. Then water supply, correct. Water supply for irrigation, you are saying. Domestic water supply, hydroelectric demand, correct. Then power generation, correct. Right. Then power, other than power gen, navigation, okay. Industrial, there may be potable water or drinking water, right. Apart from that, anybody is from environmental engineering? Environmental engineering, electric power supply, who has done AMI in electrical or working in an area of electrical engineering, I mean that environmental engineering. If you are from environmental engineering, you may be worried for a downstream environmental flow, that minimum this much of flow is required on the downstream side of the dam, so that fauna and flora that should not die, right, because of this to construction of a dam on a river, right. And therefore to maintain flora and fauna, right, Neeraj, you are also here, maintain flora and fauna for what you can say to what we can say, that is to maintain minimum environmental flow in the river. So these are the various, this becomes the various constraint for what we can say for reservoir operation. So let's see that my specific objective here is optimization of river reservoir operation to minimize irrigation deficiencies. Now what do you mean by irrigation deficiency? So irrigation deficiency means, suppose you need certain a quantity of water, but you are able to supply only B quantity of water, right? Means that a requirement, demand is more and supply is less. So demand minus actual supply, that is called deficiency, right? And we have to operate reservoir in such a manner that this water requirement, that is water requirement for what, irrigation purpose, that we wanted to minimize, and that is done using one soft computing technique which is known as J algorithm. J algorithm is a kind of algorithm optimization technique which is used for what we can say optimization purpose, and it is a one kind of optimization technique. So this specific topic which I am discussing, it is co-authored with me, Dr. Vijendra Kumar, and his research work, that he has submitted his doctoral degree on this specific topic, and he has worked on it. We have published more than 6 to 8 papers on this specific topic in very reputed national and international journals. The contents of today's presentation will be like this, where I'll be discussing some introduction part, then I'll be explaining certain methods, materials and methods of optimization technique. Then I'll go to explain you the study area. After discussing the study area, I'll talk about the mathematical tools used for it, and then afterwards how and which way the results and results are obtained from using this particular algorithm, that we will discuss it, right? If you want to cite this article, or you wanted to have this article, then you can refer the hydro volume, that is water resources and coastal engineering hydro 2019 conference, and the literature or the subject matter which I am discussing here, it is a part of this specific paper. So optimal monthly reservoir operation to minimize the irrigation deficiencies using J algorithm. If any one of you is interested in having this paper, just ask Darshan sir. I will mail this paper to you also. Okay. So when we have discussed initially about optimization. So here in Gujarati it is written, but as we have talked about the optimization, this is a very good example why we need optimization and optimization of reservoir operation, or how the optimization technique is useful. You will find it that water management in Ukai. In what has happened this year, 1st July, right, the rule level is 321 feet. You understand what I mean by rule level? Rule level means the water is to be stored in the dam. Okay, and this water is to be stored in the dam, that is according to rule level. That means that for month of June, July, August, September, they fill the dam gradually. they are not filling the dam. Suppose in the month of July there is lot of inflow into the reservoir and they can make the dam full. That may not be the case. Why? There are rule level decided by the authority that they will fill the dam up to this level in month of June, then successive month they will fill little more, then August they will fill little more, and September they may go for the filling of the dam completely or fully. Why? Because the if you all are from India and we have a monsoon season for 4 months, and southwest monsoon we receive rainfall all over our country, and therefore these rule levels are decided for filling of the dam as June, July, August and September, and this is common. This rule level is considered for all the dams in India. Okay, so what has happened this year, that in this year in the month of July itself the water level in the dam is 319 feet, right, while the rule level is 321 feet. Usually what happens in the month of August or in the month of September, the Ukai authority is forced to open the gate to release the excess water. Means if the water level is more than that of the rule level, then what dam authority is to do? The dam authority is required to release the water. But here first time this has happened in case of Ukai reservoir, that the dam has reached 319 feet of water level in the month of July. So if there is a 2 feet of water, inflow of water, then in the month of June itself, the authority may be forced to open the gate. So you will see the next graph in which you will see that 321 is our rule level, right? And what is the condition of water level in the Ukai reservoir 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. You will find 16, 17, 18 or 17, 18, 19. 17, 18, 19 are considered as a drought years, right? 17, 18 and 19. These are the considered as a drought years for Ukai catchment, right? Why I am showing this slide to you? What is the relevance of this specific slide with the topic which I am discussing? Can anybody write in chat? This specific slide which I have shown you, what is the relevance of this slide with my present topic? Can anybody write in chat? Can anybody write in chat what is the why I have shown the water level slide of various years over here? What is the connection between this slide and the title of my today's lecture? Can anybody type in chat? Yes, Rajiv. Yes, anybody else other than Rajiv? What is the relationship between the water level which I have shown and title of my topic? Correct. Manoj is writing manage reservoir, correct. Chirag is writing storage optimization. Due to optimization, it may be possible. Tana Shah is writing. Yes, anybody else? Aniket wrote it shows supply and demand relationship. Yeah, see the correct answer is given by Aniket. Of course, the other answers are also correct, but exactly what we want to know out of this specific slide, right? What is my objective? Now objective everyone knows. What is my objective of this specific paper? Everyone has to type in chat now. Now there are 68 participants and the 68 answer I should get. What is my objective? What is my objective?
Sir, we have 88 participants, sir.
Oh, but 68 it is showing here. Acha, 68 plus it is showing. Okay.
Yes.
It's good that 88 participants are there. So at least I should get 88 answer. What is my objective of the present study? What is my objective? No. I have shown you my title, na? Title of the topic. I will again show it to you. What is my title of a topic? What is it? Minimize irrigation deficiencies, right? What is my title? Title is to minimize irrigation deficiencies. Again, write in chat, minimize irrigation deficiencies. right? So if I wanted to do minimization of irrigation deficiencies, right? So how this slide is useful to me, which I have shown you, how this slide is useful to me, right? Please write, type in chat, or even you can unmute and answer. Minimization of irrigation deficiencies, right? How this slide which I have shown, the water level in the what we can say Ukai reservoir over the number of years, how is it related with my objective of this specific lecture? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody write in the chat, or can anybody unmute and reply? Minimization of irrigation deficiencies. Yes, Rajiv, I become fan of you, right? You are the only one, right, who is really listening me, right? I really become a fan of you, right? He wrote correctly that you visualize what I am trying to, what you can say, explain you in next 1 hour or so. You visualize what I am doing. I am not trying to explain you any hypothetical problem, man. I am trying to explain you the real application of optimization in the field of what you can say water resources, right? So to overcome the water scarcity during summer, no optimization or minimization of irrigation deficiency, that is the title of the my what we can say this topic. But the deficiency in the past, this specific slide is gives you also the idea that lesser will be the storage, what will happen? More will be the deficiency, right? Storage level for 300, this is only for the month of July, this is not the end of the season, but in month of July you will find that if lesser is the storage and if there is no inflow into the reservoir for the later months, if water is not available in the reservoir, what will happen? The less water may be supplied to what you can say for the irrigation one, and hence what will happen? My irrigation deficiency will increase. Okay, so the reservoirs, this already I have explained you what is the purpose of reservoir and why reservoirs are constructed. Once the reservoir system is constructed, it may have hydroelectric plant, network of irrigation canals, right? Then drinking water supply, domestic water supply, etc., right? These are the what you can say the purposes of for which the reservoir is constructed. Now when we talk of reservoir operation, the reservoir operation policies are developed to enable the operator to take appropriate decision. The reservoir operation policy indicates the amount of water to be released based on the state of the reservoir, demands and the likely inflow to the reservoir. The release from a single purpose reservoir can be done with the objective of maximizing the benefits. For multi-purpose reservoirs, there is a need to optimally allocate the release among different purposes. That we will see in the next slides. So this is what we can say diagram which shows working of hydroelectric power plant, where you will need the water for irrigation also, and where you need the water for what you can say generation of power also. The operation of reservoir constitutes a very significant aspect of water resources planning. The operator must provide comprehensive instruction once a reservoir is created, enabling suitable water management choices to be taken. In the reservoir's operating strategy, the quantity of water should be calculated according to the condition of the reservoir. When it comes the condition of the reservoir, that is storage in the reservoir. And as I have shown for the month of July, for the last 10 years, what was the water level? Was it same? No. The condition of the reservoir that will differ from 1 year to that of the other year, right? And accordingly, the water will be available for the supply. There are a variety of disputes occurring between demands for various reasons when operating a reservoir for more than one purpose, such as space, time, and discharge conflicts. For example, if you have a dam where you have irrigation also, and at the same time there is a power generation also. So if you give more water to power generation, what will happen? The less water will be available for irrigation, right? So if any one of you are doing consultancy, or if you have any one of you have worked in the field, they may be knowing that the in charge of the dam, right, he remains always stressed if the if he is not releasing water for power generation, the target for generation of power is not met. And if he supply more water to power, then it may happen the entire farmers of that specific region come to the dam and they do agitation against you that you have not released the sufficient, you are not releasing the sufficient quantity of water, right, so that we can get the crops, right, yield, proper yield of crop, right, or our crops are dying. You have seen in the newspaper or you read in the newspaper that the agitation of farmer is often happens against the dam authorities demanding that you release the water, but the dam authorities sometimes releases water and sometimes not able to release water because there are conflicting demands. Suppose if it is a drought year where the water storage is less and the drinking water supply is also one of the objective of that specific dam, according to Government of India national water policy, the drinking water supply be given the topmost priority. Hence the water may not be supplied for irrigation, right, but the first priority may be given to drinking water supply. So the in charge of the dam may like to store water for drinking water supply rather than supplying it for the irrigation purpose. So this is called in conflicting, this is an example of conflicting objectives, and such conflicting objectives you have to can be taken care when we are talking about the optimization. So decisions on releases are produced in compliance with the demands in various periods, right? So you know India has 3 seasons: summer, winter, monsoon and winter. We receive most of the water in the monsoon season. The optimization definition and all that we have talked a lot and discussed a lot. Either we wanted to maximize the effort, or we wanted minimize the effort, or we wanted to maximize the desired benefit. The engineering application, almost in all field the optimization is used. Maybe it's a design of structure, construction, machinery, space vehicles, right, road work, network, transportation, planning, controlling, scheduling, allocations, everywhere what you can say the optimization problem is useful. But how to I'll touch little upon how the problem be framed, right? So that is called model building. So for model building, how the model building can be done, this is very significant and very important, as many of you have not having any exposure to optimization or developing a model. Let me explain you this nicely, that how the model can be built. So model building, development of an divided into major phase. Number 2, problem definition formulation. Number 3, model development. Number 4, model validation and evaluation or performance. And number 5, model applications, right? All these are the 5 steps which are required for model building. Here I have developed optimization model for minimizing irrigation deficiencies, and I will follow all these 5 steps which I am showing you in my succeeding slides. Okay, so first step is data collection, that you have to collect all the data which is required for the development of the model. Problem definitions, where you have to clearly define whether you wanted to go for maximization of the benefits or minimization of the cost, and for that what may be the different constraints, all that you have to identify in problem definition. Then the model development starts with the mathematical description, parameter estimation, input development, and if any software you are using, then the software development, either development or you can use the ready-made software for application of it. Then comes the model validation. Suppose you develop a model, you got the results also, but whether your results are correct or not, so you have to check it somewhere using mathematical or statistical parameters, or wherein you have some observed data and the model data, so you can compare your observed data with the model data, and using certain statistical parameters like root mean square, coefficient of correlation, right, that you can do. At the same time, if suppose number of inputs are too much, so many number of inputs are affecting your objective function, and you wanted to minimize, or you wanted to find it out that which inputs are more sensitive to the output which you are getting, right, or your objective function, then you may need to carry out sensitivity analysis also. This page also is an iterative process and may require returning the model definition. And again, when I'm saying that the model development, calibration, validation, right, and application, this cannot be done in a day or two, right? So the entire this only I think 40 or 50 slides are there which are on reservoir deficiency operations, but to develop this I think it required more than 2 years. The presentation which I am doing through this specific slides, right? So modeling techniques, there are various different optimization techniques or modeling techniques. These modeling techniques can be classified into classical optimization techniques, linear programming techniques, and non-linear programming techniques, depending upon the nature of parameters, whether the parameters are linearly related, whether the parameters are non-linearly related. You have to select a proper optimization technique also. Geometric programming, dynamic programming, integer programming, stochastic programming, evolutionary algorithms, etc. The optimization classification you can do, then you can say constraint based classification, where the problems are constraint problem. It optimizes an objective function in regard to certain variables if the variables are restricted. So then that is a constraint based problems. The physical structure of the problem, optimal control problem, non-optimal control problems, then nature of the equation, how which kind of equation you are using, linear equations, non-linear equation, geometric problems, quadratic equation which are using, what type of a problem, whether it's a deterministic or stochastic type of a problem. If it is a stochastic programming problem, then you have to choose the tool accordingly. If it is a deterministic type of a program, then you have to choose the number of objective function, whether you are going for only single objective function or multi-objective function. So this is the classification of what we can say the optimization problem. Significance of optimization I have already explained you. I will not go into the details of it. The techniques, however, the techniques which are used, linear programming, non-linear programming, dynamic programming, and other traditional methods are already used in the reservoir operation. Here we are trying to apply the new soft computing technique, that is Jaya algorithm, right? That is the soft computing technique applied for optimization of irrigation deficiency in Ukai reservoir. If anyone is interested in application of soft computing techniques in civil engineering, this is the book which is edited by me and available at Viva Books Private Limited. It's originally from Delhi, and it contains many application. Here you can see it's from chapter 1 to chapter 10, in which the chapter 1 AHP, chapter 1 and 2 AHP application is given, that is analytical hierarchy process. My second subsequent lecture is on this specific technique, and I will make you solve one example on that in my next lecture. Then the chapter 3 and 4 you will find, if you are working in the area of fuzzy logic, then this chapter 3 and 4 is fuzzy logic based application. Chapter number 5, it is geospatial and soft computing techniques, use of geospatial and soft computing technique. Chapter number 6 and 7 you will find artificial neural network application. Chapter number 8, it is genetic algorithm. Chapter number 9, it is cellular automata, and chapter number 10, it uses linear programming technique. If you talk of the problems in the areas which these techniques are used, in chapter 1 it is solid environmental engineering, in chapter 2 it's a construction management, in chapter 3 you find it in case of water resources engineering. If you will see chapter number 6, chapter number 7, then its application is in transportation engineering. If you see chapter number 8, then its application in the water distribution network, right? And if you will see chapter number 10 again, then it is agriculture and that of what you can say water resources engineering. So this is a ready-made book available with what you can say application of all these soft computing techniques which I have just mentioned, and you can get it from Vivo publishers, right? So this book is edited by me, and a number of application, as I have said, with the solved problem that are given in that book. So several heuristic and meta-heuristic techniques have been applied to solve water resource operation problems successfully. That use of genetic algorithm, ant colony optimization, particle swarm optimization, optimization, shuffled frog leaping algorithm, firefly algorithm, right, BERT algorithm. These are the different algorithms or various algorithms which are applied for what we can say the application of soft computing techniques. Okay, so I'm not reading the detail of it. However, the specifically in this application of soft computing technique, J algorithm is used, which has been developed by Venkata Rao. He is a professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in SVNIT. This specific algorithm is developed by him. For your information, Venkata Rao sir is also organizing every year one training program on soft computing techniques. So you can keep on checking the SVNIT website, and if you are fortunate enough, you may get opportunity to attend that STTP, which is conducted by Venkata Rao. He has conducted more than 15 times this soft computing technique application short-term training program. So the results of Jaya, they were compared with two another algorithm in this specific application, that is Invasive weed optimization algorithm and PSO algorithm, that is particle swapped algorithm. So totally the reservoir operation of minimizing irrigation deficiency has been solved using three algorithms here. Number one, Jaya algorithm. Number two, invasive weed optimization algorithm, that is IWO, and number three, that is particle swarm optimization algorithms, right? So description of what we can say algorithm, that is Jaya algorithm. As I said, it is developed by Venkata Rao, and the best part of this algorithm is that the algorithm always try to get closer to success, reaching the best solution, and then tries to avoid failure, right? And moreover, most of the algorithms they are parameter specific, but in case of Jaya algorithm, you are not required to fine tune the parameters, right? That is the advantage of what we can say Jaya algorithm. This is the flowchart of Jaya algorithm, where you have to do initialization, selection of population, random generation of population, identify the best and worst solution, modify the solution if it is not the best, and then again go for the new solution, compare the solution with the best solution. If it is best, then keep it, otherwise reject it, right? This is the flowchart which is shown for the Jaya algorithm, on which the what we can say the best solution is obtained. The statistical efficiency parameters, when we have run the model, what are the statistical parameters used to check the performance of model? For that, three statistical parameters are used: root mean square error, mean absolute error, and nut shuffle efficiency parameters. These are used for comparing the results of what you can say model parameter. And one more is that is performance evaluation indicators, reliability index, and that of the vulnerability index. So these are the what you can say the parameters used to check the model parameter and that of the what you can say observed parameters. The study area, that is Ukai Dam, you know that it is constructed in 1972. Length of Tapir is 754 and catchment area is around 65,145 kilometer square. The maximum water level, the storage is 8,480.80 million meter cube, and full reservoir level it is 7,414.29 million meter cube. This is the storage capacity of Ukai Dam. This is the picture of the Ukai Dam. Yeah. Now here, please pay attention to bottom figure, where you will see the Ukai Dam. From Ukai Dam, the only lap bank main canal originates, while the water is released from Ukai Dam and it comes to Kakrapar, and from Kakrapar, two canals are originated, that is Kakrapar right bank main canal and Kakrapar left bank main canal. Apart from that, you have URMBC, that is upper Kakrapar right bank main canal, right? That is KRBMC, that is Kakrapar right bank main canal, and this is Ukai right bank main canal. And what is CCA is written, that is the catchment command area. CCA means catchment command area. So the water which is released from Ukai Dam is supplied into 4 areas: ULBMC CCA, KLBMC CCA, KRBMC CCA, and URBMC CCA. What's the full form of it? Understand this clearly. Ukai left bank main canal catchment command area, where the water is to be supplied. Then KLBMC, that is Kakrapar left bank main canal catchment command area. Then KRBMC, that is Kakrapar right bank main canal command area. And URBMC, that is Ukai right bank main canal command area. So these are the 4 areas which are irrigated from what you can say Ukai Dam, right? The water is required to be released for irrigation purpose for this particular region. And what is our objective? We want to minimize the deficiency of water requirement and water supplied for what you can say this Ukai Dam or downstreams of the Ukai Dam. These are the silent features of the Ukai Dam. Right from geological information to that of geographical information to average rainfall 820.07 mm. The dam is composite dam, partially concrete and partially that of the gravity dam, right? So what data are required now? So which data we have collected? So the data required for the study were collected from the Ukai left bank division and the Surat irrigation circle. So what data we have collected? The data for the analysis were monthly inflow from the reservoir, that is from 1975 to 2016. Monthly evaporation rates 1975 to 2016. Monthly spillway data means how much water is spilled over the spillway, that has been collected for 1975 to 2016. Then the monthly discharge through the powerhouse. You are supplying water for generation of power. So how much water is supplied for generation of power, that has also been collected for 1975 to 2016. Monthly discharge through Ukai left bank main canal. How much water is released into Ukai left bank main canal? What are the monthly levels of the Ukai reservoir? Because this keeps on changing, as I said, depending upon the monsoon, this level will not remain constant. Monthly storage capacity, this will also keep on changing with the year and with the month, right? Then irrigation demands, this is very important, and these irrigation demands that we have find it out for all catchment command areas, CCAs, for all CCAs, what is the requirement? And for Ukai reservoir, you can see monthly storage. So what is the storage? So what you are supplying and what is the requirement, what we can say difference of these two will give you the irrigation deficiency. Then what is the power generated, what is the reservoir areas, domestic demand, what are other demands than that of the irrigation demand. So that is water required for generation of power, water required for domestic water supply, water required for industrial demand, water required for water quality maintenance, that is environmental flow downstream of the dam. So these are the data which has been collected, and the objective function has been finalized. The objective function has been finalized, that is mathematical models formulation. The minimize the sum of the square deviation for irrigation demands annually. Minimize SQDB is equal to, right, T is equal to 1 to 12 for 12 months. D1, that is demand 1 at time 1 for first month, and similarly what is the irrigation demand at that time, demand, and what is the supply water, IR1. D is the demand and IR is the irrigation releases. So difference of these two, that will give you what you can say the deficiencies. And what is our objective function? Our objective function is minimize SQDV, that is minimize the square deviation for irrigation demands. Here 1, 2 and 3. So why 1, 2 and 3? So you see here the region which we have selected. Now that's why I was showing you this specific area. area, right? You will see here, actually here there are 4 but we have combined 1. So you have got 3 areas out of these. Instead of these 4, we have taken 3 areas, and that water is, how much water is required for each area and how much demand is of each area, right? Which are shown in this 4 color that we have considered as a 3 colors. And based on that, this objective function is what you can say derived. Right, so this objective function is decided. Okay, once the objective function is decided, now we have to go for the various demands. Okay, so 1 is for Ukai left bank main canal, that what I said. 2 is for Kakrapar left bank main canal, and 3 is combined, that is Kakrapar Ukai right bank main canal, Kakrapar KULBMC. Right, for this the irrigation demands for these particular areas that we have collected, and what is the available water, that difference of that gives us the irrigation deficiency. Now what are the constraints? These are very important, because whenever you want to do optimization, that is subjected to some constraint. For example, if you have a plot, you want to construct a building on it, right? The builder says let's have a maximum profit out of it, and I will construct a building which is 100 storied on that small plot. It is not possible. Why? Because the bylaws restricted the construction of number of floors at that specific location. So that is called constraint. Similarly, here for minimizing the irrigation deficiencies, what are the constraint? So constraint number 1 is your continuity constraint. Whatever may be the inflow, whatever may be the outflow, that should be matched with each other. That is storage at any time t plus 1 is equal to storage at time t plus inflow minus release 1 minus irrigation demand 1, irrigation supply 2, irrigation supply 3, evaporation losses and overflow. So this gives me the continuity constraint. Then storage constraint, if we are talking about the dam, you can have your storage value somewhere in between the minimum storage value and that of the maximum storage value. So as minimum and as maximum. So what we did, we have collected the data from 1975 to 2016. So for this period, we find it out what is the monthly minimum storage in the dam and what is the monthly maximum storage available in the dam. Because these deficiencies, we have to, what you can say, the releases we have to set between what is the minimum water available and what is the maximum water available. Between these two, we have to find it out some optimized value to be supplied for that given period, right? So that is storage constraint. Then evaporation constraint. Here we have used the linear equation, and that's linear equation be used for finding out what you can say evaporation constraint. Then canal capacity, the most important one is the canal capacity, right? Even if the demand is more, let's say if these are the area, these areas are there, and I have shown you, right, this specific figure, if you see that KLBMC and ULBMC, ultimately water is carried from Ukai Dam or Kakrapar Weir to these areas through canals. And even if the demand is high, but if carrying capacity is less, what will happen? You cannot able to supply whatever may be the, or you can able to supply only that much of water which the canal can carry. So that's why it is said the canal capacity constraint. Here it is written as one of the constraint, that what is the canal capacity constraint of C1, C2 and C3. So that is ULBMC, KLBMC and K and ULBMC. So see, this capacity constraint also we have collected from the irrigation department, that they can carry this much of water only. Then overflow constraint, when you have storage in the dam but inflow is more than that of the capacity of the dam, then what it should do? So it should take the water as an overflow water from the dam. So overflow constraint. Then irrigation demands. So demands, we have collected the data for 1975 to 2016. From that we worked out what is the minimum demand and what is the maximum demand. Why? Because our releases that should be optimized, and if it is required to be optimized, it should be between minimum limit and that of the maximum limit. So for all three areas, we have find it out the demand, we have find it out the what you can say supply, and between that the irrigation demand constraint is given. What is the minimum environmental flow required on the downstream side? That environmental flow constraint is given as it is shown over here as in the form of equation for all 12 months. After giving all this constraint and objective cognitive function and writing a MATLAB code in using J algorithm, we got the results, right? And the model application, when we have run the model was three MATLAB programs were wrote. One was wrote for that PSO, particle swarm optimization. Another one was wrote for IWO, that is invisized width optimization algorithm, and third one is wrote for the J algorithm. So some of the parameters which we have used, common control parameters such as number of iteration, that is 25, 50, 75 and 100 were used. The population size of 1 lakh were used to check the efficiency of algorithms over 10 separate runs. It has been observed that all the algorithms perform better for population size of 50. The internal parameter of PSO, that is cognitive parameter C1 and social parameter C2, they were taken as 1.3 and 2.0. These cognitive parameters which we have considered C1 and C2, that is based on literature survey. And from literature survey, we find it out that what researcher have used the social parameter and cognitive parameters, and how these parameters gives results in case of our problem, right? Considering that these values are selected. Similarly, for IWA, S minimum and X maximum were held as 0 and 3. This also again the maximum bit size, again referring the literature, we have find it out this value of it. The non-linear modulus index was taken as 2. The initial standard deviation and final standard deviation were taken as 0.6 and 0.001. And what is the advantage of J algorithm over the PSO and IWO? We need algorithm specific parameters. So these are called algorithm specific parameters which are not required in case of that of the J algorithm, right? Then the penalty function, if suppose your results or when you are doing modeling, if it is not within the range, and hence you have to apply the penalty function, and that penalty function is given over here, and applied it to the constraints, right? So after running the program, the minimization of irrigation deficit optimal solution obtained by 3 different algorithms, that is J algorithm, PSO algorithm, and that of IWO algorithm. So you will see that there are 10 runs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 runs, and for each run the minimization of irrigation demand JA comes out to be 0.402441. PSO it gives 217, IWO it gives 0.743. But for and in case of 10th run it is 0.384, 8.131 and 1.36. So out of these 10, the best one is the 0.002402441, 1.268, and this is 0.144. That is the best for Jaya, for PSO, and for IWO values, right? The worst is also given, the mean is also given, and the standard deviation is also given for the results obtained using J algorithm, PSO algorithm, and IWO algorithm, right? So yeah, these errors are discussed over here. This specific what you can say graph shows the number of iteration after which the convergence rate happened in case of algorithm. When you run the algorithm may take time to reach up to the solution, and for that time it takes take number of iterations. So you will find that the Jaya get converged after minimum number of iteration compared to that of PSO and compared to that of IWO, right? So that way also when we say about the convergence rate, so from convergence rate point of view also the Jaya algorithm has converted fast. So this is a statistical summary for efficient parameters. You will find Jaya, PSO and WO. You will see that almost for all 3 statistical parameter NSE, RMSE and MAE, the value of Jaya algorithm which is given when compared with the PSO and IWO, it is minimum. That means the performance of Jaya algorithm to solve this specific problem is better than that of PSO and IWO. Again, when we talk of the evaluation of in terms of reliability index and vulnerability index, you will see that reliability index of Jai algorithm is higher than that of PSO and IWO, while that vulnerability index of Jai algorithm is minimum compared to that of PSO and IWO. So either way, you will see that the performance of Jai algorithm is better, which gives you the results which are used for what we can say optimization purpose. So coming to the conclusions, most of this I have already read that the current research to minimize irrigation deficiencies, optimal reservoir operation was developed. This has been implemented over the Ukai reservoir. The Jai algorithm was used and the results were compared with the particle swarm optimization and invasive weed or optimization method. Findings of Jai algorithms were found better than that of PSO and IW algorithms, right? The Jaya had a greater value of NSE and a lesser value of MSE and MAE as compared to PSO and IWO. In addition, the performance indicators such as index of reality showed that Jaya has got higher reliability compared to that of other algorithms, while that of reliability is concerned, the Jaya is more reliable and less vulnerable compared to that of the other two algorithms, that is PSO and IWO. These are the references. This is the permission which you need if you want to use this particular presentation. Apart from that, I'll take the opportunity here to just inform the participants that in case anytime if you are interested in arranging any of the workshop or course, then these are the training programs and workshop which I organize, which I conduct for the other institute like Storm Trade Design for BTech, BTech, MTech students, water supply network design, sewer network design. These can be done for BTech and MTech students. Application of soft computing techniques. This can be done like Darsan has arranged this short-term training program. This kind of special training program for 2 days, 3 days can be arranged. Apart from that, I do conduct the workshop for flood modeling. That flood modeling includes one-dimensional flood modeling and two-dimensional flood modeling. If anyone is interested in water conservation practices and want to go for recharge structure in their campus, I'll assist him for pre-design without taking a single paisa to construct a pond or to construct a what you can say water conservation structure in their campus, right? This also, even yeah, somebody wants that, sir, I wanted to recharge my bore, right, which is in the house, how can I can do it? So with least cost I can guide him to do the recharge of his or her bore in the house, in a small house, maybe a plot of 17 feet wide by 30 feet, right? You can do recharging in that also. Then if somebody is interested in designing of hydraulic structures like check dams or weirs or what we can say water intake structures or canal falls, etc. So this hydraulic design is also be done, can be carried out, and training program can be arranged on it. I have a special mastery on long distance pipeline. If you have any project wherein there is a want to transport water from long distances, like I have designed and executed the long distance pipeline Madhuban Dam to Salvasa. It is approximately 25 km long, right? That is 900 diameter pipe, and the entire design of it, that is design and execution, both were done by us, right? And then the flood mitigation measures, somewhere you find that the water is entering from nearby stream into your region, or you want to protect the specific villages, right? That is possible. That flood mitigation measures designing is also possible. At the same time, if you want to arrange any workshop or training program in your institute on all this topic, it is possible that we can arrange this program at your institute also. So with this I end my discussion on this, and I welcome the questions. So we have some time now, so we will interact with each other and we can take up questions if you have any for either for this presentation or the topics which I have shown. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. We can discuss it together. You can even unmute yourself and ask me the question. So no questions means either you have not followed anything or you have followed everything, right? It means that if there is no question means only two possibilities are there. Either the participants have not followed a single thing what I have explained you, or the participants have 100% understood what I have explained you, right? So any one or two question regarding the presentation or regarding the optimization, you can ask me. Or if you have any problem in your mind and you wanted to develop optimization problem, want to apply the optimization technique into it, then also you can ask me. Yes, normalization of data is the mandatory requirement of any optimization technique. And usually, if you are writing a MATLAB code, then it comes inbuilt. You have to give data directly, and the MATLAB coding or MATLAB function will do its normalization. If it is what we can say, if data is not normalized, then you have to do normalization of data, and then you use for the optimization purpose, whatever subcomputing techniques you required. But the normalization of data is mandatory requirement for the optimization. Yes, any another question than this? Neeraj has asked this question. Anybody else? Any other question for optimization? Related to anything optimization, you can ask about what you can say, the data collection, how the data were done. If you have not understood how the results have derived from this particular presentation, you can definitely ask that. During water recharge in bore, will the surrounding soil falls? Actually, it depends upon what kind of strata you are recharging. Prashant, you have to check the strata, below strata, right? This happens actually, the recharge bore fails, right? When such type of a strata is there, then there are incidences where the recharge bore fails. So before doing the recharge bore, water recharging, you have to check the strata, and depending upon that you have to decide which method of recharging will be used for that per specific region. That's good. I got a question from Prashant about the water conservation, and that's excellent one.
Any other question from the participants?
Darshan,
Yes, sir.
just a minute. I'll just check. Just I would like to show some small video to participant, right, of water conservation. Darshan,
Yes, sir.
yeah, is it visible?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah. So this is a simple rooftop, and from this rooftop, can I rotate it? So, this is a simple what you can say, the tub in which the rainwater is collected from the top, and that is being used So you've seen that what I said you, that when we are talking about water conservation, right? This video which I have shown you, that is simply a water rain rooftop water that is collected with the plastic bag into a tub which is filled with the different types of stones which you can say soil, so that the water infiltrates, and from that it is directly supplied to the what you can say the bore, recharging of a bore. And the cost of this is not even 1,000 rupees, it is less than that of the 1,000 rupees. Sir, how does the optimization model take into account of disasters, like if we had over the marks water inflow and damage was done to the system? No, I didn't understand your question, Aniket. I think you are asking about the management during disaster. When we are trying to optimize it, that we have a overflow constraint. So for example, minimization of irrigation depend, if we have given overflow constraint, and accordingly what will happen if there is excess water, it will taken care by the overflow from the system, right? If you are talking that you wanted to do disaster optimization of disaster management, then you have to find it out. First you have to frame the problem. After framing the problem, you have to find out different constraints, and after finding out this different constraint, you can manage the disaster also for a specific what we can say purpose. So that's altogether a different what you can say analysis. Any other question than this? So Darshan, if there is no question, then I would like to thank Darshan, and I would like to all thank all the participants who have taken interest in whatever I have presented, and